Of course, there's a deep feeling of frustration, of course, from the general public, not least those particularly connected to the case. But unfortunately, the law has to take its due process. The law doesn't move very quickly. It certainly doesn't move as slow as it does in India, as we often report, but it does need to go through its due process, and it takes time, unfortunately. And that is frustrating because people are impatient. They want to see a result. We need to know what is the story here. But we mustn't forget that these gentlemen are innocent until proven guilty. But of course, we do look forward to that result, that outcome of that trial as soon as possible. But of course, the problem there, of course, it does leave this vacuum of information. And wherever there's a vacuum, nature, as they say, abhors a vacuum. And of course, misinformation finds a ready home in vacuums like that. So it's very easy to spread misinformation or even just speculative information. And that's been the problem here, and that has been the case all the way through. It's likely that a lot of this case will be heard in camera. If it does involve the intelligence services, it's likely then that means that a lot of the evidence delivered in court might not be for the public eye, it might not be for public consumption, it will be held in secret only for maybe the judge and the legal teams. That again will lead to more frustration, but unfortunately that is how it happens with the due process of law. The other speculation, of course, here, which I find most interesting, is this reference: could they do a deal? If they do really know some juicy information that could indeed lead back to the Indian government's involvement in this killing, that really would, I'm sure, interest the authorities and the legal authorities, and indeed the government of Canada, and of course by extension the US government. They, I'm sure, will be very willing to do a deal if indeed there is damning evidence and proof even of a link to the Indian government. So that is a juicy thread that we'll keep an eye on, and hope that does indeed lead to something. And then, of course, leading on to the bigger picture story here, there really is this issue of organised crime gangs, organised crime syndicates, whatever you want to call them. This is a global problem, and it doesn't just come from India, it does come from other nations as well, but India has particularly targeted North America, as we often report. We certainly know the Bishnoi gang, for example, are operating in California, which has caused various problems there, certainly for the Sikh community. Likewise for the Canadian Sikh community, definitely there are issues there, of course, by extension, we're assuming it was organised crime acting as proxies for the Indian government. These guys were part of organised crime in Canada, just acting as proxy killers for the Indian government. So again, it does give the Indian government a useful tool, a platform to launch their own nefarious activities against the Sikh community and indeed other populations, should they see fit.